character, confidence, and capabilities. Ashe. And this is a year-round program, family. We're in Baltimore City, we're in Baltimore County, we're in Harford County. Okay, so we're right here, based in Maryland. And if you go to consciousingenuity.org and click on the first link, you'll see more details of the program. I just want to show you something, family. Right now, I'm cultivating a generation of young people who are going into the community to teach STEM or STEAM to our young Black people, our young Black children. And so if you notice, look at what all of the instructors have in common, right? And I actually had to add 10 more faces here. So I literally have I would say a catalog of 25 plus young Black engineers who understand their duty their duty to the community is to come back to the community with their STEM knowledge and skills to push the community forward. All right. And so that is conscious ingenuity. And then also shout out to the Uhuru Academy. I don't know where I'm at, family. I feel like I'm all over the place right now. But shout out to the Uhuru Academy. Shout out to Baba, Amin, and Mama and Koyo. We co-founded the UACI STEM Camp. And the purpose of this was to reach more Black people, right? Or more Black children, because conscious ingenuity is based in Baltimore. It's really a Baltimore thing, right? But we have branched out to Baltimore County and also Harford County. But my goal was to expose as many Black children to STEM as possible. And the UACI STEM Camp allows us to do that, right? So we literally have children from New York to California who participate in this STEM Camp summer experience. All right. And so if you go to the website, you see that these are actual pictures. Every picture I show you, family, are pictures from my actual program. These aren't web generated pictures or AI and none of that crap. These are children who have come through my program, all right, or our program, okay? And so they learn STEM history, so they learn about the contributions that we've made to history, and then we display all of our graduates, right? You can come here, you can see our graduates and see what we're doing. You can learn about the team, and then listen to what the parents are saying about us. And this is in partnership with the Morgan State University CAP Center, the Cybersecurity Assurance and Policy Center at Morgan State. Why are they involved? Because during this camp, we expose children to the fundamentals of cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and coding. So we actually have a partnership with the major research center. All right, shout out to the CAP Center. And last but not least, family, I have the Asafo and Agoji training camps for our young boys and our young girls, where we focus on manhood and womanhood development and young boys and girls between the ages of 12 to 14. Here, we focus in these camps, we focus on cultural enrichment, character development, life skills, and more. All of these camps, family, are free. Let me say that one more time. All of these camps are free. And so all you have to do right now, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and I'm also going to put it on the screen. Okay. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Here it is. And I'm also going to put the link on the screen. All you have to do, family, is visit consciousingenuityinstitute.org and enroll your child or your children in this program today, free of charge. And let me tell you something, the slots are going fast for the UACI camp. We're only taking 50 students this year. We usually take 20 to 30, but this year we upped it to 50, and literally 35 students are already enrolled. Okay. And that's with me not even putting it out there like that. Literally 35 slots are already gone for the UACI camp, and the slots are going quick for the Asafo and Agoji training camps. We're only taking 20 boys and 20 girls. So if I were you, it doesn't matter if you're out of state or if you're in state, right? If you're in Maryland or outside of Maryland, head on over to consciousingenuity.org and get your children enrolled in these programs today. All right, family. So enough of that. Without further ado, I'm going to bring on my good brother. You all know who he is, the good brother Ankh. He reached out to me a couple of days ago, actually, and he told me about an incident that took place on Sinetta's platform. There was an exchange between him and a young lady who has a bachelor's of science degree in psychology, and she, declared herself as a scientist. And then Ankh said, look, in my opinion, look, you're not a scientist, right? And I'll bring him on to tell his side. But he said, in his opinion, she wasn't a scientist, or is not a scientist. And then he reached out to me, said, Doc, what do you think about this? And I'll read the text message when he gets on here, what I sent to him about that. And so then the pseudo killers went live a few days ago to address it, because she also attacked him, right? It wasn't just like, when he said, well, you're not a scientist. She, yeah, I am a scientist. And she wanted to throw her education around. And then, then she accused him really of being misogynist, right? You just don't respect black women with degrees. You just mad I got more education than you. Kind of went there. And Ankh was hurt about that, because you and I, if you've been following Ankh, we all know that Ankh is a huge advocate of the sisterhood, right? Many of you know my story. When I came into the online conscious community, he was the one that really brought me in. It was actually a brother named Courtney and then brother Ankh. And the first time I spoke in Harlem was because Ankh gave up his time to make sure that I spoke. And it's not just me, it's several sisters, that have come through the community. He's always made sure that sisters were respected and had a voice. And Ankh was raised by a strong black woman. He's married to a strong black woman. He got strong black women all around him and the pseudo killers. So he was hurt to even be accused of being mean or disrespectful or, hating on a black woman, because he loves black women. And so anyway, family, I'm going to bring him on so we can unpack, what happened. What happened. So without further ado, I bring to you our good brother Ankh. Peace, 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 brother Ankh. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Doc?
Hey, I'm
How you
doing all
feeling?
right. I'm doing all right. I feel good. I feel good. How are you? How are you? Do you feel
Oh
okay?
man, I'm feeling good too. Feeling great. And shout out to all the pseudo killers. I'm a raw squad, all the great sisters that have joined me in my fight to liberate African American women.
Come on.
Appreciate that. And there's some things I'm just not going to stand for. Okay. I'll give you 10 chances to call me a crackhead or smoking cocaine. Well, I give you 10 of them. You can have them. It's fun, right? But I'm not standing for you talking about my contribution to African American women and the African American community. That's one thing I can't do. I can't
Mm-hmm.
take that one. Not going to take that one on the chin. Nope. At that point, you become 8 to 80, blind, crippled, or crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You can be King Kong climbing on top of buildings. I'm going to strike the building down. You can be the smallest ant they got. I'm gonna take that microscope glass and put that sun. You know how you take that glass and put the sun in. I'm gonna burn your leg off. Little teeny ant. I got to do it. I got to do it. But I will always be respectful to the sisterhood because that's the way I was raised. And my
Mm-hmm.
daughters,
Yeah, you got
right?
daughters. That's another
My
thing.
little nieces,
Yeah.
right? They tune in to your program. They tune into my program. The sisters on the pseudo killers are always in support of sisters, even if they pseudo. You
Mm-hmm.
two, you don't make no bones about it. Come on. Okay, we'll get there. Right. Okay,
Right.
bet. So we don't play the disrespect of the sisterhood around here, right? We just don't do it. We support sisters that stand tall on feminism, okay? Because we know, okay, the advocate of women rights, okay? So we advocate the rights of women. Simple as that. In particular, we advocate the rights of African American women
Come
because
on.
this is important. They have been extraordinarily marginalized. You got white women marginalized, and then you got the black women, which were extraordinarily marginalized
Mm-hmm.
in America. So you know the saying around here: when white people have a cold,
Black
black
people.
people got the damn coronavirus.
Ah,
in our particular program that we are producing, the program that you showed earlier of how it wasn't always like that, Dr. Mayat.
right.
Wasn't there yet. I remember when I met you. Okay. I remember where you was at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I remember your head. I remember the whole damn thing. Right. And I say, man, I need you, Doc. Where other men in the community, they wasn't really trying to hear it.
No, not at all.
Ha 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 ha. I say, no, yo, you gotta. I said she's dynamic, and not only that, she's advocating for authentic African history. And that first debate you had, never forget it. So when I met you at your first debate, it was in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, that's
We
right.
ain't gonna mention the nut's name because he's a nut.
He is a nut. He is a nut.
And we had the debate at a Hebrew temple.
Come on.
Never forget it.
Come on. Tell the
Full of Hebrews. I remember it. Prior to the debate, you had your notes very organized. I say, shit. I say, damn. I say, why you need me? Nah, I just want to make sure, I say, okay, I may have some pointers, but I don't know if I can deal with that.
You had some great pointers. Yes, and
we were going,
we were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was really cool. It was really cool.
I was like, okay. I didn't expect the level of professionalism. Okay. I didn't expect the showmanship. No, I expected you to be professional, but I didn't expect the level of showmanship. Your authority as a Black woman showed clear through, okay? And your ability to articulate was amazing. Your points were crystal clear, and they was like arrows going between your head, between his eyes. Bow, bow. Matter of fact, the presentation was so serious that they actually got rid of the daggone tape, right? And the Hebrew brothers and sisters actually cheered you in that debate against one of their fellow brother Hebrews.
They sure did.
Both of them like you beat the brakes off them. They was ashamed, right? I never forget that. I was like, wow. I said, we need you on the team.
Yep, I remember.
Now, I never needed you. I say, get back here. He go the spears and we got in the shields. I need you back here. Nah, that's how you get down, right? Okay, whatever.
You telling the truth. I hope they're listening because you speaking nothing but
you go hard. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, because I know that on the board you got your queens, you got your pieces, and I knew that you. I said you are a centerpiece for what is to come, for where I know the vision is for us to go. I already knew. I said I can't take us there. I don't got the academic background. I don't got the 8-9 years to get you the doctorate degree, and I said I don't got that. But I know where the African American community is supposed to be, male or female, kid or adults. I know we're supposed to be at, and I know one day you're gonna be the greatest piece we got. You was like, what? I say no. I said you the queen. I said I'm telling you this, man.
You did.
So through our conversations, our battles, our ups and downs, our teaching of each other, right? You introduced me to the academic world. You allowed me to talk to other beautiful African American doctors.
Yeah, the whole panel on your show.
Right? Had the conversations of what they was talking about, what it meant to go to school and the different levels of college. You taught me everything I need to understand about this. It was amazing how you brung me around your friends and how the conversations was. You never shied away from that. You never say, well, he's too rough around the edges. You never did that. You allowed me into your salactic space. You allowed me into that. Okay. And I always appreciate that.
Into the classroom. Tell them about that.
I ain't even get to that part. See, now you got me bragging. I don't want to brag. But let me say it though. I'm saying. You trusted me with one of your most precious gifts, okay, yearly, and that's your students. You actually trusted me to come in and do a great lecture on the African origin of STEM.
Yeah.
Every year. And we support that. We support that with a general history of African methodology and African prehistory. So we actually, where's that at? Yeah, so we actually, this is all documented. This is always one of my first slides. And that trust you gave me, I appreciated that. And it was real for me because you didn't just throw me out there. You was like, there's certain things you can say, you cannot say. Okay. The way you speak is important. And guess what? The correction you gave me, I accepted. Oh man, you just hating that. I can't believe I'm brother. Don't you know me? It
No,
wasn't that.
never,
You
never.
know, I had to humble myself when the person, you know, actually said, well, you don't say, well, that's YouTubers. We don't need that. I need you to be clear, take your time, be concise in your words. I appreciate it though, Doc. It just helped me grow as a speaker and as a person. And we're in a situation now that we should not be in. But the greatest thing you brought to this community is what you just showed at first. That coming together of vision of African American people was great. A regular old guy like me and a person like you that's went through the halls of academia and reached one of the highest levels. The fact that you could take that vision that I had in my head, add what you had to the table, your vision or how you felt about African people. The fact that you actually traveled to Africa several times, all the time, many times. The fact that you got into an argument with the native people about the slave dungeons was amazing to me. I say, Doc, calm down. You're in Africa. Don't do that.
Why are you telling it all?
I gotta tell it all, man.
But also share this if you put up and I really want you to show the Facebook post, if you could find it, because I want to address that. So first of all, I do want to say Ankh gave me a lot of accolades, and I got to throw them back to him. Ankh is also published. You know, he's published with the National Society of Black Engineers, and to anyone who knows that, it's a prestigious Black engineering society. Okay. And they have conferences every year. And literally, I think last year, the year before, I think it was 2023, right? It may be, I think it was
Yes.
2023. In 2023, they decided to start their own journal, which was long overdue, called the Black Excellence in STEM and Technology Journal. So it's called the Best Journal. And so anyway, the first volume, Ankh and I, along with Dr. James Holly, we published an article that talked about the importance of embedding African-centered education in African-centered education in STEM education, right? So taking African-centered education and embedding those techniques into STEM education. And shout out to Baba Amin, because I actually also interviewed Baba Amin, about his thoughts on what an African-centered STEM education program looks like. So I interviewed him. So he's actually also mentioned in that paper. I think he's either in one of the footnotes or he may be in the bibliography, but he's actually mentioned in that paper because I interviewed him. No, he's actually in the paper, Brother Ankh. Like I mentioned him alongside, I believe it was Dr. Malana Karenga and somebody else, right? And so anyway, he's mentioned in the paper as well. But we were advocating for traditional STEM to be more tailored towards Black people, right? So connecting Black students with the content, by centering our culture, our history, our psychology, our interests in STEM education. And so that's what it was about. And so I just want to show you what the sister that he recently had the exchange with. She went live. She didn't go live. She threw up this Facebook post, and she said, so Ankh West minimally, which I don't like, that she said minimally contributes to one paper about Africans in STEM, but goes off the rails about me being a scientist, a Black female scientist. She said, now we know their only motivation was to try and humble me. She said, what does it say? I guess she said effing weirdos. She said, go make another video about me. And so when he did see this Facebook post, and I was like, wow, she said that he minimally contributed, which is far, far, far from the truth. And I think that she was looking at the order of authors, because I was first author, Dr. James Holly was second author, and Brother Ankh was third author. And typically that is the perception, right? Like when you're first author, people look at it like, oh, it's your research and you're spearheading this thing. And that's more than likely true. However, When I have names alongside, and I'm speaking for myself whenever I publish something, everybody's contributing, whether it's data collection, data analysis, whether it's the literature review. I mean, everybody's contributing. So his contribution was not minimal. In fact, his contribution is the reason why this was published. Let me say that again. His contribution is the reason why this was published. So he's the reason why. I never ever thought, and Ankh, you can take it off the screen. I never ever thought about embedding the African worldview in STEM education until I met Ankh. Let me say that again. I never ever thought about embedding the African worldview in STEM education. Was I studying African culture and history? Yeah. Did I have my doctorate in engineering? Absolutely. Even with that, I never ever thought of looking at STEM from an African-centered perspective until I met Ankh. Okay. And then got on, and he put me on with people like Dr. John Henry Clark. Never heard of Dr. John Henry Clark until I met Ankh. Never heard of Dr. Ben until I met Ankh. Never heard of those folks. I heard about the Dr. Naeem Akbars and, of course, Dr. Franz Cresswellson and Marcus Garvey. Heard about all that, but never knew about them. And then shout out to Dr. Asar Winkler. Shout out to him, Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler. He put me on with Dr. Amos Wilson. So then I started getting into the Dr. Amos Wilson's, right? It's Dr. Amos Wilson's work. Then from there, Dr. Amos Wilson put me on with the work of Baba Kwame Nkrumah, nation building, African-centered education theory and practice. And then from there, I said, wait a minute. Now I'm reading books by Asa Hilliard, right? Come on now, Baba. I know you feel me. Asa Hilliard, Dr. Jacob Carruthers, people who are pushing African-centered thought, right? That type of stuff. So I went from talking about integrating or embedding the African worldview into STEM education, but for him, it was by way of talking about our contributions to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, making sure that we know that we are pioneers in this field, right? Not that we just simply contributed, but some of this stuff started right there in Africa, right? And so that was his contribution to the work. Then I got on with reading the works of Dr. Kemet Shockley. Shout out to him, and where they're talking about African-centered pedagogy, and Dr. Wade Nobles, he's talking about African epistemology, and I never heard of that stuff until I'm talking about family right now. And I hope you hear me. I'm talking about men who have poured into Dr. Ma'at to put me where I am. I'm not just here doing this stuff out of the thin blue. It started with Brother Ankh. We need to incorporate the African worldview in the STEM education. How, Ankh? By way of making sure that people understand that we are pioneers in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Then from Brother Ankh, I'm meeting other brothers in the community, and I'm learning about this African-centered education stuff. And I'm like, what is this? So I'm getting on with that. Then I'm meeting people like Baba Amin of the Uhuru Academy, who has an African-centered school, who's actually implementing what we call African-centered teaching strategies, right? Based on African ways of knowing, learning, and thinking. So, now I just want to show you all what has been produced. And this is the first time I've talked about this really online. If you Google together with these brothers, I'm talking about Brother Ankh, I'm talking about the work of Dr. Amos Wilson, peace be upon his soul, the work of Dr. Oh my goodness, he just passed. Oh my goodness, Junkufu, y'all know who I'm talking about. He just passed. Put his name in the chat, family. He just literally passed. He was the one that published that book about the stats on Black boys and different African-centered teaching strategies. Was it Junkufu? Y'all know who I'm talking about. He just literally passed, but it was his work. Kwame Nkrumah, together with all of these different people, Baba Amin. I'm talking about all of this. Now there's a framework out there called the African-centered STEM. Thank you, Jawanza Kunjufu. Thank you, Baba Sekemra. Thank you, Dr. Jawanza or Brother Jawanza Kunjufu, who just literally passed. All of this work has now culminated to the African-centered STEM education model, which is currently being used, family. Is being measured right now. This is academic work. You can actually go to Google and type in African-centered STEM education model. Okay. I got to shout out the CAP Center, that whole team that taught me about culturally responsive teaching strategies. Shout out to them because some of that is in this model too. Okay. So look at this model. Right now, you have this framework. And in this framework, one of the features is ethnically matched instructors. Why? Because typically students or children, they learn better from people who share their racial or cultural background. It's a fact. They've measured it in engineering education research. We see it. It's a fact. They're inspired when children are inspired, or students are inspired when they see someone who look like them. Then you have African-centered teaching strategies that are based on African ways of learning and knowing. So that's your call and response. Shout out to Baba Amin. Shout out to Baba Amin. Shout out to the CAP Center at Morgan State University. You know, cultural responsive teaching strategies. But in the context here, we're talking about that relate to African people. And when I say African, I'm talking about people of African descent. Then we also have, look at this, shout out to Brother Ankh, an inclusive STEM curriculum highlighting historical and modern contributions of Africans. So his contribution, family, is what he contributed, and she tried to say it was minimum. It contributed to a framework that's being used in academia right now. This is him. This is Brother Ankh, an inclusive STEM curriculum highlighting historical and modern contributions of Africans. Then over here, this is Dr. Ma'at. I said, hell, we need to reconceptualize what STEM knowledge is in its utility, right? And make sure that we include and benefit African people. So reconceptualizing this whole STEM thing. Why isn't the drum, Brother Ankh, considered one of the first or earliest wireless communication devices? Or the Akabin? Why isn't those? Because that's STEM knowledge. That's STEM knowledge, Brother Ankh. Those are the devices or the technology of that time. So these are conversations that we're having in STEM education right now. Okay, so I'm arguing that one of the features of this model, we got to reconceptualize what STEM knowledge is and how we apply it. Okay, so there's a huge emphasis in this model. Well, whoever implements this model, there's a huge emphasis on making sure that we understand how our ancestors perceived and utilized STEM, and then also to make sure that we utilize it to benefit our communities. Last but not least, and I'll land my plane, Brother Ankh, the last feature is the incorporation of African culture. So our values, our principles, our philosophies, our village practices. And another shout out to Baba Amin and the Huru Academy. I got to see front and center how embedding African culture in education impacts Black children. I got an opportunity to see it, read about it many times. But I got an opportunity to actually see how incorporating African culture, meaning the values, philosophies, principles, and village practices into the education of our children impact them. And so that is the African-centered STEM model. This is the framework that's out there. And so I was able, with all of these people, starting with Brother Ankh, I just want to say that, Brother Ankh, again, starting with Brother Ankh, I was able to create and piece together a framework that is now being analyzed and measured in academia right now, Brother Ankh. And so I salute you. That's why I got offended when I saw the Facebook post and it said his minimal contribution. I said, this sister don't even understand. And I called you on the phone. I said, Ankh, she don't even understand that you were the catalyst of everything that's happening. There are 12 publications, by the way, that are out there on this African-centered STEM education model. There are people reaching out, and one of the publications is from Purdue University. Another one is from the American Society for Engineering Education. Another one is from IEEE Frontiers in Engineering. So this is academic research that I don't want to say catapulted, but you were the catalyst of that. You were the spark. That's what you sparked. So you sparked a new educational framework, a model that's being analyzed and measured in academia in 12 papers. And we got 3 more in the pipeline right now. Brother Ankh?
So I ain't going to sit here and lie and think all that was going to become of it. No, but I knew what the hell I was looking at. I always had that good eye to see what it is I need to see as far as watching the person, how they move, their educational acumen, just how everything's supposed to go. And I just knew you were special at that point. And I always had the sisters. And the thing don't start to grow until the sisters get involved. You can't have a whole bunch of brothers sitting around arguing and screaming. Your organization, your thing don't grow till you get the sisters deeply embedded into what you're talking about. But you can't just have them deeply embedded where they the secretaries. Okay?
Absolutely.
They got to push the thought process. They got to be a part of the correction process. They got to have the same type of power and sway that the men got. You know, I've always advocated that. I say we sit at the damn round table. We sit at the round table, right? And I could just start going down the list, okay, of the sisters that has helped us. Okay, today, right now, we could talk about you. We can talk about Juju. We can talk about Miss Tiff. Then we got some sisters in the pseudo killer army. I don't know if their names want to be mentioned, but we have a healthy group of educated sisters. See, that's another thing. So I ain't never worrying about a sister, her damn degree. My mother had a damn degree. My aunt had a damn degree, right? My daughter got her damn degree. My other daughter's in college right now, right? Okay, pre-med. So I'm not afraid of intelligent black women. I just know the value of having an educated black woman. I know in my life, I always say, I ain't messing with no woman that's getting high. I never did. In all my trials and tribulations, I stayed away from that. You can't be like me. We both can't be smoking. Whatever we doing. I said, that was crazy to me. You got the least baby to help me until because I know once I get together, I'm be right. Right now, I'm just down. So I've always picked a woman that was intelligent or entrepreneur, always either or. So I've been knew the value of it. You know, it was times that my aunts and them would educate me on things of being a man when the men just wasn't around. Maybe they was working, doing their business, right? Hey, don't put your hand right here on your hip. Like, that ain't how I do. These are the things that are missing in today's society. These everything go right now. When I was growing up,
come on,
man, them sisters, my aunts would say, nah, this ain't how you do it. Nope. One day you will have a woman. You need to treat her this way. Man, I appreciate them, man. My aunts to this day, man. You know, big up to Aunt Jackie, big up to Aunt Deborah. Like, man, they was just there, yo. And of course, my uncles was there too. Right. So I had a rich tapestry of individuals that poured into my life. So when I did go wrong and crazy, I had something to grab from. And I never forgot that. So when I came back around full circle for what I wanted to do, I knew what it had to have. And it had to have strong black women. I knew it because that's how I got back. My mother looking in my face when I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, when I'm at my lowest point. Every day she drive by the corner, Rogers and Rice's town, just to see her baby. She wasn't gonna let me come in her damn house though, right? But she wanted to see her son though. Man, that I waited every day at that particular time when she got off work just to see my mother. To let her know, hey, I ain't gone yet. I'm here though, right? Them small things like that. It's important. Now all the brothers, they be like, nigga, he just had to be all right. It is what it is. So I'm telling you, man, that's the thing that got me. Not the fact that science is not a science. That ain't the thing that really got me. That ain't what got me. The thing that got me was the disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just offended me. Right. Okay? You offended me when you start talking about I'm not respecting your degree because you are a woman. That is far from the truth. I appreciate that, sister. Right? If I'm saying I can't confirm whether she has a degree or not, but I'm gonna take her at her word almost. Right. Almost. Right? I'm saying if she does have that, man, big up to the sister. The next point is you just not a scientist. Now, like you eloquently said in that text, you want to read that text message?
I am, but what I want is for you to, can you play the exchange so that the people, can you share the video or the clip so the family can kind of hear? She
makes a claim though. She makes a claim, and I'm gonna say that second one is gonna tie it in the young pharaoh.
Yeah, that's go. Like, I want you to play her clips, and then we'll get into my text message, like my thoughts about it, and then we'll go into the young pharaoh stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So the wild part about it is the first person I go to was to the women. I went to you and the other sisters in the group that got degrees, and I asked them their opinion on it. I didn't just dive out the window full. Like, come on, man. I thought I knew what I was talking about. I figured I did. I said, but let me see what the women got to say. Let me see. All right, here you go. Here's the first clip. I'm going to play this right here. And big up to your audience, man. They always supporting me. And big up to the pseudo killers in the community, the skeptics, man. I really appreciate that. All right, let me get you the first part. All right. Hold on here. But I told you to go to one. You got the best one. I'm going to slide back a little bit. Just a little bit. Let me go back.
Yeah, you added that. You told me 229. I was at 238.
All right, hold on. Because there was a reason why I went back to 229. All right, here we go. We started at 229. Let it ease into it so y'all can get the context of it. All right, here we go. And no, I ain't just picking on nobody. I'm saying it is what it is at this point. It's a moment to teach the community so we will not be confused in our conversations and our STEM education. It is what it is. And there'll be a day when I have to be corrected and I just have to accept correction. That's the difference between being childish and being an adult. Adults, okay, inspiring adults take correction. Academia, being a scientist, it requires you to take correction. Okay, a kid just run off howling, screaming, acting crazy, turn down everything, turn up the paper in the house. That's what kids do. I push the community to be an adult and they approach and understanding scientific literacy. Here we go. It's okay to be wrong. We all have been. I come from pseudo beginnings, so that's how I know that. I see it. Here you go, Doc.
But I wanted to ask because, like I said, I'm a scientist first, right? But as a scientist, how do you explain places like, because we the evolutionary tells us that 20,000 years ago humans were hunter-gatherers. We use sticks and stones as tools, right? How do you explain places like Pumapunku or Sacsayhuaman or Gobekli Tepe that defy the evolutionary timeline that tells us that there's no way humans are you brought up not to apply it, but if humans were really just hunter-gatherers with minimal information, how are they lining up pyramids with the belt of Orion precisely? Where did they get the math to do this?
Yeah, they didn't do none of that. That's the
right.
Hold up, pause that. So that's just her saying I'm a scientist. You took it.
Go to your part right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to your partner at 35. Am I correct?
No, I'm at 38.
38. Okay, let me get here.
So that's one time she said I'm a scientist.
Mm-hmm. And when you start talking about pool and all that red flag go off my head, huh? Hunter gatherers, that's that Graham Hancock information. Okay? And I just know it. Don't hate me, hate the game. All right, here we go. Let's go next. All right, why is it not moving? Hold on. All right, hold on, Doc. I got reset. Let me reset it. All right.
You need me to do it or?
No, hold on. I got it. Let me get it. I don't know why the thing moving so slow. You might have to hold on.
I got it wasn't during the pyramid time.
So, my second question to
real quick.
So you go to the 2 hour mark, 2 hour and 30 minutes.
I know. I'm gonna have to just exit out completely because it's just messing up.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me see where. I hope I don't get it before you. If I get it before you, I'm gonna joke you. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh my goodness.
If I get it before you, I'm gonna just joke you.
You tell me a bachelor in science.
If I get it before
you didn't. Now I beat you. Ha ha! Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm like, if I get it before you, I'm a joke.
Not. It's in 38, right?
Yep.
All right.
I'm almost there.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
I'm here. I just need the screen share. I got the screen share here. You got a screen share. You just trying to get me. I'm here.
Okay, now you are. All right, there we go.
You too spectacular. I'm started 37. Here you go.
That's at 38, but I don't know what's happening at 37.
That we feel that they need to build this stuff. Well, I know that, but I'm asking you.
Let me give the answer. Why not the simple answer?
Okay.
And
What's the
science,
simple
yo,
answer?
the simplest answer is the best one. We just don't know.
So what's the
Listen,
okay?
we
Well,
just
yeah,
don't
I
know how
know we
they,
don't
let me
know.
finish. We just don't know how they did it. But just because we don't know how they did it, don't mean it was some spectacular scientific invention. And no, that's what
Don't
white
you
people
think we
do,
would have
and they
figured
put
it
in the
out by
books and they
now?
sell it to you.
But you
No,
don't think we would have figured it out by now?
no,
You
they
don't
ain't
think
figured out
so?
how they built the pyramids. So what? What that mean? That's not white people will take that and make millions of dollars off it.
Well, I don't care
Listen,
about them. I'm talking to my brother right
listen.
now.
I'm
I don't
saying
care about them.
I'm trying to take they tap into that part that you claim you're studying. They tap
It's
into
not a
your
claim.
psychology. Listen, it is a claim. They don't got no spectacular technology. I just didn't feel like doing it to you right here. I want you to enjoy the
No,
show. I
do it to what? Wait. What are you talking about? Like,
I'm gonna
is this
say it.
you trying to
I like
humble
the
me right
fact. I'm
now or
going to tell
what?
you.
Like, I don't understand.
No, I don't. I try to
He
do
let
right
you
for you.
live.
I let you live
But how are you letting me live? I don't
because
understand. Like, one, you keep trying to downplay the fact that I say I'm a
I'm not
scientist, but
downplaying
I
the fact.
told you I have a degree that says that.
A
But what are you
psychologist is
trying
not
to
a
say?
scientist. Now you make me get strict. A
Yes,
psychologist
I
is
am
not
a
a scientist.
scientist.
No, you're not.
Yes, we are. Why do I have a bachelor of science? Why do I
Because
have a bachelor of science?
sciences and now
It actually does.
I'm starting to think that there's a twinge of pseudoisms around. I didn't want to say it, but you brought it up.
No,
Now I say it.
but you can't say that. You
You
can't say that.
You made that up. A bachelor's in science. Ali Muhammad keeps saying, I got a bachelor's.
Hold on. You can't.
Come on, yo, we not doing that, bro.
No, listen, brother. Come on, man. Calm down. You know this is the toughest environment, man. You
You
can't.
gonna tell me a bachelor in science make you a scientist, yo? You gonna do that?
You can't disrespect her
I
scholarship.
didn't.
She have a degree in this, brother. Come
No,
on.
bro. Look it up. What is wrong with y'all? Look it up. Won't it take us?
My signal went out for a second, but
Hold on. Hey, King J, can you please look up what a bachelor in science means, bro? Can somebody, before I just lose my mind and get off this thing and just fall out?
Wait, calm down, because what is your point right now? You're trying to tell me. You're trying to tell me. Wait.
Pause that. It's so much to unpack in that one clip. It's so much to unpack. So the sister did say that she said she was a scientist a few times. She said she has a bachelor of science, and she didn't say where she got it in. You were the one that threw it out there. You were like, "Don't make me say it. Don't make me say it." Then you was like, "You got BS in psychology," basically. You know, that's
right.
What you were
and
saying.
I'm trusting her right there. I'm trusting that she did that much.
Yeah, you're trusting it, right? Because you, like you said, you really don't know. But then you reached out to me, and I'm gonna pull up the text message. So you reached out to me after that exchange, and you said, "Doctor," you said, "Does having a bachelor?" As a matter of fact, you sent this to me on Thursday, April the 24th. You said, "Does having a bachelor in science?" So basically, you said a BS degree, Bachelor of Science. You said, "Make you a scientist?" This is the new debate. So this is what I said, and this was my response. And family, I'm really reading. Like, I don't want y'all to think I'm making this up. Like, this was his question. All right. I don't know if you all see it. That was his question, and this is my response. Okay. And I said, I believe that anyone who forms and tests hypotheses can be considered a scientist in the colloquial sense of the word. Right. That's the first thing I said. Anybody, I believe, notice I say I believe. So I'm letting you know this is my personal opinion. Okay. That anyone who forms and tests hypotheses, you all should be able to Google what a hypothesis is. It says can be considered a scientist in the colloquial sense of the word, meaning the everyday definition, right, of what a scientist, is
Right.
every sense of it. Yes. So it says, I said, earning a bachelor's degree, as I put in science because I initially thought that Ankh was saying in science. I know that he meant bachelor's of science, but I said it signifies that a person has taken science courses and demonstrated an understanding of scientific theories and concepts through exams. Projects and other assessments. I said such person can also reasonably be considered a scientist. So in my mind, I thought reading his text, he said a bachelor's in science. So I thought that she had like a degree, a bachelor's in science, meaning that she took a bunch of biology classes, physics classes, chemistry classes. So that's what I was thinking until Ankh gave me further information and said I was in psychology. But anyway, it says right here, I said such person can also reasonably be considered a scientist. I said, however, when I think of a scientist more specifically, I envision someone with a deep expertise in a particular scientific field gained through advanced study and or professional experience. So then I go on to say, in other words, I believe it's levels to this. Being a scientist, you may have a colloquial scientist, you may have a degree holding scientist, and then you may have an expert scientist. And I said, I think the sister, because let's not get it twisted, Ankh, psychology is considered a soft science.
Science.
Now we can get into the whole debate about hard and soft scientists, and I actually want to give the family a resource on that. But psychology is considered a soft science. Absolutely. So if she has a bachelor's of science degree in psychology, would she? Yeah, she's a degree holding scientist because she has a degree in psychology, which is a soft science. But that's not the level that you were thinking of when she said that.
The expert.
I think your mind went to exactly being an expert, or professional, somebody that's been working in this field. They're expert in this field. I think you all were thinking that at two different levels. She was at one level thinking one way, and I feel like you were at a level. I feel like you were at a level. You were at another level. You see what I'm saying, Ankh? You thinking about? I think, and I also want to say this, Ankh. I think this, and I noticed this about you when I was on the panel. It was me, you, Dr. Asar, and Brother Reggie. And I think Brother Reggie hopped off, and it was just me, you, and Dr. Asar. And he's also in the soft sciences. But I think that people who are into the hard sciences, they really, and I'm talking about the hard sciences, your physics, your chemistry, your engineering, that type stuff. They don't really respect people in the soft sciences. I think that's where I think, Ankh, you're over there with the hard sciences. And so when someone say, well, I'm a psychologist, you like, that ain't no damn science. When somebody say, I got a degree in sociology, you like, that ain't no damn science, because you over there with the hard sciences. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they are people in the soft sciences. Those people who are experts in those, they consider scientists.
I agree. I agree with you on that. I ain't fighting that.
Yeah. And I just want to show a reference real quick, family. A reference. This paper was published by Harvard University. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. This is a paper that was published by Harvard University, and it's 42 pages. But hold on. Great resource. I know the pseudo killers are definitely go through it and analyze it. That's what I love about the pseudo killers. But this was published by Harvard, and it said hard science, soft science, a political history of a disciplinary array, right? And so this was published by Stephen Shaplin, who is with Harvard University. Ankh is not even listening. And
I'm right here listening to you. So go ahead, Harvard University, go ahead.
Got you. So it says right here, a distinction between the hard and soft scientific disciplines is a modern commonplace widely invoked to contrast the natural and the social sciences and to distribute value accordingly. So a lot of people will have more value for the hard sciences than the soft sciences. But here we go. It says where it was generally agreed that it was good to be hard, right? To be hard. It said bad to be soft, right? And this is not just you, Ankh. This is what's going on in the community, right? So typically people don't respect, the soft sciences. They don't. So he says, I trace the emergence of the distinction to institutional and political circumstances in the United States in the second part of the 20th century. I describe varying academic efforts to give the contrast coherent meaning. I note the distinctions, uses, and disciplines reflection on their own present and possible future status, and I document the consequential circulation of the antonym in settings where resources for science were distributed. To follow the history of the hard-soft distinction is to open a window on changing sensibilities about what science is. Remember, remember in the model, I talked about the reconceptualization, I said, of STEM knowledge, right? So what is science? What is that? So here it is. It says what values are attracted to it and what it is for. I conclude with speculations about more recent changes in the value schemes implicated in the hard, in the soft, and about pertinent changes in the place of the soft human sciences in governance and production. I envisioned a possible future in which the commonplace distinction might wither away. So people do distinguish it. People do. Oh, you over there, you talking about sociology and psychology. I'm not gonna lie, Ankh, I do it. I tell my students all the time, I say, well, you can go get that psychology degree. It's an easy degree. I mean, I say stuff like that too, because I'm over in the hard sciences. But the reality is, even though you're in the hard science or you study in the hard sciences, soft sciences, you're still considered a scientist. And so I went to Chat GPT, right, to summarize the major points of this paper. And I just want to read this and I'll land my plane, Ankh. So it says major points, and this is what Chat GPT said. So the major points in this article, and again, family, I'll drop the link in the chat to this article so you all can check it out. It says historical context of the distinction. So they're trying to figure out what's the history behind these distinctions, hard and soft science. So it says Chapin traces the origin of the hard versus soft science dichotomy, highlighting how certain disciplines came to be viewed as more scientifically legitimate due to historical developments, funding priorities, and institutional support. That's important. How did we get there? How did we get to hard and soft? Well, you got to go back to the history. And so it was viewed, certain disciplines became viewed as more scientifically legitimate because of historical developments, funding priorities, and institutional support. The second major point, it says the role of political and social factors. This article emphasizes that the perceived hierarchy among sciences is influenced by political agendas, societal needs, and cultural values, rather than purely objective measures of scientific merit. Third point, it says impact on disciplinary identity. Chapin discusses how this clarification affects the self-perception of various scientific fields, influencing their methodologies, research priorities, and the way practitioners within these fields view their work and its value. That's a fact. Okay. Fourth, it says challenges to the dichotomy. He critiques the oversimplification inherent in labeling sciences as hard or soft, arguing that such labels can undermine the complexity and validity of research across disciplines. I'm guilty, Brother Ankh, of that. I'm guilty. I'm like, they ain't really doing no research over there in the psychology department. I'm guilty. I'm guilty of saying that. Oh, that you got a sociology degree. They ain't really doing no damn science. We all do it. We do it. And it says, then his fifth point was a call for reevaluation. Chapman advocates for a more nuanced understanding of scientific disciplines, encouraging a move away from rigid classification towards a recognition of the diverse contributions and methodologies that different fields offer. Okay, so that is the major points of this paper, right, that he's talking about, published by Harvard University. So I would never dismiss this sister's bachelor's of science degree in psychology. She has her degree in a soft science, right? She does. Do I feel like a psychology degree is rigorous? No, I mean that's my personal opinion. I don't think that it's rigorous. A psychology degree, you're not taking a bunch of physics. You're not. And see, when I think of science, that's where my mind goes, right? Because I'm over in the heart of science. So when you talk to me, I'm thinking about biology, chemistry. I'm thinking about physics. I'm thinking about Calc 1, Calc 2. I'm thinking about that. And I think you're more so on that side. So when she started talking about I'm a scientist, you looking like hell. You got a psychology degree. But psychology is considered, I'll land my plane. It is considered a soft science. And I think it's two things going on right now. And I'll land my plane. I think you all were thinking about different levels of what a scientist is. Remember, I talked about colloquial degree holding scientists, and then I said an expert scientist. I think that you were thinking about an expert scientist, and you're like, you ain't no expert scientist. Like what expert? Like you got a bachelor's, you're not even you're not even in it. You don't have an advanced degree in anything, an expert in anything. So, and you were right. She has a Bachelor of Science in psychology. She's not what they would call an expert scientist. She doesn't have an advanced degree. And she's not an expert in any field, right? And so you were thinking on at that level, right? I think she was just looking at it as, well, I have a Bachelor of Science in psychology. I am in the soft sciences, but I am what they would call a degree holding scientist. So I think you all were looking at the levels differently. And then the second part of this, I think, Ankh, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'll land my plane. I also think that I also think, Brother Ankh, that you are in the hard sciences, like you and I over here. And I think that just being candid, I think that we really don't really respect soft sciences. Like I can speak for myself because it lacks the rigor, the rigor that we're used to. And so somebody in soft sciences can let me know. I mean, I don't view a psychology program as being rigorous in comparison to an engineering program. I just don't. And so I think I think that you kind of, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I think you have a poor perception of the soft sciences.
No,
it's not
because we went through that before, and I'm glad you actually went through that whole thing. I think that's important for the education. So actually, like I said, you know what I'm saying, my ex-wife she has a master's degree in psychology.
Okay.
I already put the dupes up, right?
Okay.
Sister Naya has a master's in psychology. Okay. So I already know what it is. And they like they say when they go to conferences, right? Nobody in the conference is running around calling themselves a scientist, and they clearly understand the difference. You get it? Like they gave me great explanations, and they say, I ain't no damn scientist. Just like that. See how easy that was, right? So I'm not actually making a determination between the soft and the hard, because that's the debate in that. And if you think about 3-4 years ago, you gave me that same class. We was on the phone. You was like, yeah, I kind of feel that way. You like, because I was like, yeah, the science. You like, no, because you never want me to jump out there and look crazy, right? So I actually had that understanding. Let me tell you why I was saying that she wasn't a scientist. And it starts with this right here, because I've been down this road before when people try to do me like that. Let me start it right here. Started right here on why I was saying it. I wasn't even dealing with the soft or hard. I was saying, period, you're not a scientist. And this is why. Show my screen.
All right.
What time we at? Because I know we got a certain.
Yeah. Go ahead. We got about 15 minutes.
Good. I'm gonna roll right through. All right, here you go. Let's play this. Here you go. Again, a theory organizes facts.
Straw man name is not on it. Straw man name is on it. The subject that he's talking about have degrees on it. All right.
Hey, I've been through this before. See, it says a bachelor's in science. He wanted to say a bachelor in science. He was using it against me. This is the same thing she did. So when I seen it again, I was like, oh, she's trying to gain an advantage by saying she has a bachelor's, right, of science, and she thinks that makes her a scientist. That is the same thing that Ali Baba Muhammad did when he produced a degree, the Bachelor's of Science. But it's really a Bachelor's of Science because the dude misspelled it. So this is the same daggone thing I went through. I was like, oh, she's trying that trick. See, I wasn't even getting as deep as you got on it. I wasn't there. I was right here. Nobody on Sarnetta's TV need to be wielding their degrees around. I've never seen you do it. And you're an official doctor. Only time you pulled out the daggone card, right, is when I asked you to on the daggone video. When you pulled out the damn card and showed that damn degree. You say, hold on, we don't carry around the paper. We carry a card, and you showed it.
Yep.
Right? Not you in the middle of a conversation on Saturday TV. I've never seen you do that. So for me, that was a tell. You know when you're playing poker and you see a person tweet you, it's a tell. He think he got a good hand. I was like, yeah, she's trying to use it as a tool, right, of power, because science is powerful. and she knowing the conversation we was having to the normal person to say they was a scientist, it would give her more sway. She just didn't know what type of animal she was dealing with at this point.
Yeah.
Because that's the last thing you want to do to me on Saw the TV is whip out that degree or talk about you had a daggone degree. That's the point right there. That's the point I was making. He whipped that point out. It was another thing that made me leery after I started really looking into it. And Mika, I'm not going to change the conversation because you was clearly don't know the difference between a scientist and a colloquial definition of a scientist. When you buy your kids a project, a scientific project, a science project, when you enter them into a science fair, okay, we say they're scientists. That's not what the hell we was talking about. She actually said she was an expert. Okay, what I'm saying is the programs we be on, Dr. Miyad, imagine Professor Dave hearing that. Imagine Cater, Dr. Cater hearing that. Imagine that. I'm saying my job is to get the people ready for what the level is and push them to that, to push them to you so they would understand it's important to have your kids in STEM program early on so they can get interested in the field. You got the numbers on the damn website to show we all the way down here. So I'm pushing education because there's a lot of damn jobs there for African Americans. We ain't got to play football, basketball, and baseball all the damn time.
Right.
That they stand a better chance at going in the STEM fields because it's open for them to do. Your whole classroom. Right? If they stay the course and pay attention to you, and I be saying the daggone letters they be sending back to you, Doc.
Come on.
I be paying attention on how they progressing in their careers and how they progressing, getting into college, how they progress. I see it, Doc. But they can't progress if I'm sitting around let people calling themselves a damn scientist and in the next moment doing stuff like this. So let me move on. Let me show you why I was saying that they was not a scientist. Ain't had nothing to do with soft or hard, which is where a lot of people get stuff mixed up. I never was on that right there. What I will tell you is, let me put this in. Let me see if I can find this right here. I think it would be right here. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. Should be right here. It's a very interesting point right here. And I'm going to show you something. Most people wouldn't even have paid this no mind, but I did. All right. Hold on. 1 second here. All right, let's see. Believe it to be right here. Let's see. Okay. Now, I want to show you this. You see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to put this up because big up the paradigm shift, man. He giving brothers and sisters a chance, man, to go ahead and debate their issues back and forth, whatever it be, right, wrong, or indifferent. He makes no bones about it, right? He pick ups everybody from the Hebrews to the Fakians to every. That's what he do. He let everybody get a shot at it, yo. I think that's important for discourse, and I appreciate you there, DMG, and I appreciate that platform. So right here, there's your great Dr. Too Sweet. Do you see the icon right there? Can you see it?
Let me see. Yeah, I can't quite see it right there, but I see.
Okay, so let me big it up a little bit. Let me get you what the icon is. Let me show y'all something. This is important. I think this is very, very important. Yeah, because it's a reason why I had red flags. I can only have but so many red flags. Okay, I'll say this again. I can only have but so many daggone red flags. All right, let me see. Hold on, let me get to the.
Yeah, this is the icon right here. I see down the bottom on the far left side. That's what
all right. You see the icon, right? Well, let me switch to here. I want you to see this. Can you see it now?
Yes, I see her icon.
See it clear. What is that? That's a trying time of your life right there, Doc. That's a trying. Do you see that? That's the alien spaceship thing on the icon. And I'm saying, man, that was a double red flag for me because then I started to have flashbacks, Doc. I said, I see what she's trying to do. She's trying to do it more eloquently. She's trying to use the power of science and the word scientist to promote her pseudoscience. She's not a scientist. She's a pseudoscientist, right? And we watch this. Y'all think I'm throwing a slur at it, don't you? No, we all start in humble pseudo beginnings. I'm just trying to snatch her up out of that at this point. Not on that show, but right now, I'm saying, yo, knock it off. You can't mix the two. Don't use that as a strength point for you. Don't do it. You see the icon though, right? Where have we seen this icon before?
Right.
See, I've been down this road before, Doc. Ali Muhammad, him thinking that a degree, a bachelor's in science means that he's a scientist. I just show that. Now watch this, though. I've been down this road before. Let's sit back and let's get this right. Here you go.
I will never teach again. Go.
Oh, shit.
Right. Come on, go, Pharaoh.
Listen, Sonetta, before I do this, I want everybody on mute. Nobody can come off mute. Let me eat. Let me eat.
All right, let's go. Everybody on mute.
Everybody on mute.
I'm timing his ass, though. I'm timing.
Yo, man, what are you doing?
Go on mute. Now, let me make sure y'all can see my screen, Si. Hold on. Let me drag these two out so that they're individual screens. We ain't making no mistakes. Now, you said, how can I'm gonna show you? I'm gonna show you what you asked for, and I'm gonna show you an actual extraterrestrial mummy that was genetically tested to have foreign DNA, and it was mummified. Now I'm gonna show you. So, goodbye to the conscious community. Image number one. Image number one. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
This is a medallion found in the tomb of a pharaoh.
There you go. Same icon. Why would you use that icon? I've never seen a scientist do that before. What I seen was pseudoscientists promoting that. She's promoting pseudo-scientific ideas. She did it when I was on Sonetta's, right? With the Puni Pool, okay? With the ancient alien video, the whole thing. She used ancient. So if y'all can't see it, that's your fault. This is an intervention right now. I'm saying you could just leave me alone. You don't got to make 40 Facebook posts like that, because I appreciate the fact that maybe you have an education. I just don't appreciate the way you're trying to use it against us. Now you didn't came into our lane. I would say the same thing to Doc. Me and Doc all go over things we get wrong. Don't we, Doc? Don't we all go over that? Don't we? We come on now. I'm like, nah, I done seen that before though, Doc. You like, what you talking about? We done been down this road before. It's not, but you know the difference between you and other people? You'll take correction from little old me. And then if I take too long to say I'm wrong, you be like, yo, you called me something. I don't know what you
I called you a narcissist. I called you a narcissist. But I take correction from anybody. You understand it? You know, my students, if they say, hey, Doc, look, that number is wrong, or and I may argue them down. Don't get me wrong. I may say, I may say, wait a minute, and then when they say, I say, yep, you got me. When they're right, they're right.
Yeah,
even my son Jay, Jalen say, hey, you were wrong about that. I did actually this. Okay, son, thank you for making that correction. Right. So I take correction from anyone. I don't think because I'm a certain age or because I have a certain educational level, or achieve a certain educational level that makes me beyond reproach. You know what I mean?
Right, correct. No, that's not it. So that's why I was questioning a scientist. Don't say I'm a scientist, then talk about astro projecting. And this is the thing that was egregious to me, Doc. Mm-hmm. The very fact that not that she made mistakes in evolution or mistakes in talking about the archaeology of the ancient civilizations and thought maybe aliens seeded those civilizations, or the technology was at a level that hunter-gatherers probably shouldn't have. That wasn't the thing, right? Because if she is a psychologist or has a degree in psychiatry, then she's not in her field with that. So I wouldn't be mad with that. But it was the astral projecting, which had something to do with thinking in the brain, when she made that mistake right there and didn't understand what dreams actually was, right? And could not recognize that herself would not be astral projecting based off of the expertise she claims to have in that field. That's when I knew, Doc. That was the mistake that most people wouldn't have caught.
But let me show the whole thing now. Because
you gotta go back. You gotta go back.
I got the whole thing. Hold on, here we go. Here we go. Hold on, I got the whole thing.
What about that the aliens won't be in the damn glyphs that you claim can't be deciphered? I'm not understanding the whole thing. You're gonna have to go to the glyphs, Pharaoh. You're gonna have to show they're aliens. Right or wrong, Pharaoh?
Don't worry, I'm on my way right now. So get ready.
Hold on. So then why would you go? Hold on. Why would you go 2 walls that you claim repeatedly have not been translated. Brother Reggie asked you an excellent question. He said, where is the source on your claim about 50% of things not being there? You never did that, Pharaoh.
No,
So watch, hold on, Pharaoh. I heard people in the chat room keep saying the Raw squad is not answering the questions. I'm gonna let you know, brother, we have not been given a chance to answer the questions in detail. These are detailed questions, not the quick cut off all this shit that we do all the time, but detailed answers. We got those answers. So everybody that kind of think a little bit that he can a little bit get with this, he can. So Pharaoh, right now, show us in those glyphs, right, that you claim have not been deciphered where the aliens are. And I'm gonna let hold on, Ujao show you how crazy you are at this point. Okay. This will end the whole conversation. Oh, yeah, hold on, I promise you. Show it right now. And when you do it, right, I won't teach no more. It's a Sarnetta. As long as you give Ujao a chance, right? If you're not gonna give Ujao a chance, I don't never want to come on here again. So what we gonna do?
I will give Ujaro a chance, but if Ujaro, hold up, Pharaoh, I will give Ujaro a chance, but if Ujaro need a whole damn hour,
no, he don't need no damn hour.
He need 30 minutes. If he needs 30 minutes, if he needs 20 minutes, I'm not gonna give him a chance.
I feel you. You know what? This is my last statement for the listening audience.
And let me say that. So on Sinetta's platform, everybody want the microwave answers. But when you dealing with science and math, it ain't something. It ain't that. It ain't the microwave. It ain't the microwave explanations. You get what I'm saying? And it ain't that. You know, when you have an intellectual discourse, it ain't that. But on Sinetta's platform, you know, he run his platform how he run his platform. But here we go.
Information that we teach. This is not the quick, fast, boom, bam, bing, boom, 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 boom.
Oh, we both.
I do that. Pharaoh do that. But these scholars that sit amongst us, they need time. But Ujao gonna beat you up on that. Go ahead, Pharaoh. You got a chance to knock me out and teach you.
Hey, hold on, Pharaoh. Pharaoh, hold on. I don't want nobody to say a word. If you disagree with him, you will be given a chance to rebut it.
No, I'm a shut up. Hey, he got a chance to knock me out of this thing.
Look at you. I'm talking and look at you.
Oh, hey, he got a chance right now to shut me down forever. Right now. Go ahead, Pharaoh. I promise you, I will never teach again. Go.
Oh, shit.
Come on, go, Pharaoh.
Listen, Sarnetta, before I do this, I want everybody on mute. Nobody can come off mute. Let me eat. All
right, let's go. Everybody on mute.
Everybody on mute.
I'm timing his ass, though. I'm timing.
Man, what are you doing, bro?
Go on mute. Now, let me make sure y'all can see my screen, Si. Hold on. Let me drag these two out so that they're individual screens. We ain't making no mistakes. Now, you said, how can I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you what you asked for, and I'm going to show you an actual extraterrestrial mummy that was genetically tested to have foreign DNA, and it was mummified. Now I'm finna show you. So, goodbye to the conscious community. Image number one. Can y'all see that?
And this is the icon of the girl the sister that goes by doctor. So she has a bachelor's of science and psychology, but she goes by doctor. And then you have Sinetta in them who actually call her a doctor, right?
Yeah, it's all confusion.
Yeah, it's all confusion. And then I know shot to brother Reggie. Anybody on Sinetta's platform, everybody could be a doctor. You know,
Dr. Phil,
Dr.
Delbert Blair,
and then
Dr. Sabi,
right? But then when you have a real doctor, because you verified my degree, and it's public. You know, the dissertations are public. It's public, right? Like when people want to verify, they have a such thing as education verification. So when someone does a background check on you, it's easy to verify.
And they've done it to both of us already.
Absolutely. So when he had an actual real doctor on his platform, remember, they clown me. There you go. You can't make this stuff up.
Tomatoes at you, young Pharaoh. Ran you so crazy, you know what I'm saying, that you had to call a goddamn court system on his nut right here.
He was harassing.
And then people don't even understand that.
Yeah, it was
like crazy. You supposed to have been a gangster and went and got him. A professional in our community. See, yeah, that's how you got. They said you was an electrician. I remember that.
Yep, sick. It was just sick. But this is the icon.
Oh, he
family
called you an
that's on-
electrician on that one too. On that video right there, he called you. He said you don't got it. You're electric. You're electrician. He didn't even know you could get a doctorate in electrical engineering. It's crazy,
No, he did.
man.
Yeah, he didn't think. He thought in his mind he thought that people who were doctors were medical, like medical, like it was
Right,
just
that
all
was it.
medical. That was
Yeah.
it. He didn't know that you could get a doctorate or a PhD in other fields outside of medicine. He didn't know. And
Yeah,
then the sad
crazy.
part is he was able to garner like hundreds of thousands of followers. But here we go.
Yes.
This is a medallion found in the tomb of a pharaoh with a giant ass UFO on it. Do you see that UFO? Do everybody see that?
Yes.
Oh, you quiet. Goodbye. Okay, now point number two. Now point number two. Goodbye. Now point number two. Let me body his ass. Let me eat him up. Now point number two.
Oh my God.
This is an actual extraterrestrial mummy that was recovered in Kemet. Can you see that? Can you see that?
Yo, y'all gotta stop laughing, man. Come on, man.
No. Let them laugh. But do the research, see if it's factual, see if it's made up, see if they DNA tested it, and when it come back that they did, and when it come back that it has 4 haplogroups, genetics to this planet, I don't want to see you on Sinetta no more. You asked me to show you the proof. I showed you the proof. You can laugh at it if you want, but this is factual artifact that they found. Now, and I'll show you the book I have called Hidden Archaeology. This shit is over 1,000 pages, and it's an unpublished book full of shit the government found that they never published. So, goodbye. Your ass is done. Goodbye.
Do you want to refute that, or anybody want to refute that?
Yeah, I asked him to show me in the glyphs, right? He showed some food.
That's
Go
in
ahead,
the
go,
glyphs.
Joe. Go. Go, Joe.
I was gonna say, there's nothing to say because the brother didn't show any glyphs, and the brother showed some.
I just showed you a medallion
minute.
clip found
Wait a
in the
minute.
tomb of a pharaoh. What are you talking about?
What's the name of the pharaoh, brother?
Wait.
You're not going to get my book.
You
You want
went
me
to a
to?
website.
You want to be on here all night? Because we can do this. I'll go get my book right now, and we
No,
can do
I'm
this.
being quiet. Go, Joe. Go.
Accept defeat. You shouldn't have said you let your ego put you out there and not you looking
Delusion.
crazy. You shouldn't have did that.
See, delusion.
Everything fun. You think I just say shit to hear myself talk?
Yeah.
No.
All right, I just want to address it real quick.
I never go back to the caller. Y'all ain't answered none of my questions. I've been eating.
No, man, you gotta let him go. Come on, let him go. Let him
Let's
go.
go. Ujaro, you got the mic. Let's go, brother.
Hey, I just need 30 seconds. One, that first picture you showed is a fake.
Never.
Period. Point blank. It's a fake.
Let them talk, Pharaoh. No cutting them off.
It's a fake. All right. Reveal the website where you got it from. It's a fake. It's a new age, this space age, new age stuff that's a fake. And then the second picture you showed was not an alien mummy. It was not an alien at all. And then third, you did not answer Ankh's question. He asked you to show in the glyphs, the walls, any kind of inscription about the extraterrestrials or aliens, and you failed to do that. So one, you failed to really answer Ankh's question. So I really don't have to say anything, but just for the listening audience, that first picture he showed was a fake. I challenge anybody to look up Pharaoh. Matter of fact, young Pharaoh, excuse me, post up the link where you got that picture from and have everybody look at it. That's a
Post the link.
And so what you were saying is that, and shout out to the sister. She's in the building.
Yeah, big up to her.
But yeah, big up to the sister. She said, make sure y'all play the Sinetta clip when y'all had to apologize and admit, no, I never attacked the sister's intelligence. So she's saying to y'all, I hope you're not lumping
Talking
me
about
in
me. She
y'all.
ain't even talking about you. Yeah.
Oh, you had to apologize? You apologize? She said and admit I'm intelligent. I don't. She says, what's this now? Video number 10. She said, keep them coming.
Yeah,
this
whatever.
scientist.
Yeah,
Oh
don't
yeah, sister. You should go back and watch this video because this video wasn't an attack on you at all. I
Nope.
actually talked about the difference between hard sciences and science. I'm sorry, soft sciences and hard sciences. And I said people who have degrees or experts in soft sciences are considered scientists. And so I said you have a degree in soft science, but let alone it's a science. So you weren't attacked over here. So you came in kind of, I guess, a bit defensive.
You gotta say she's a top-notch scientist, Newtonian physics, for her to think you on the side. It's just crazy, man.
She wasn't attacked over here at all.
I've never attacked her yet. She got 50 Facebook posts about me, talking about me in alleys and all that. I haven't said that about her. I'm not even mad at her. I just know how people can get snatched up by the likes, right? I think that's why we playing a young Pharaoh clip, right? I see it already. It is what it is. It's one of those moments in time. Every 5 years, somebody pop up, you trying to use science and play like they playing with science, yo. And then they be all the way here, confusing people, got us sounding crazy. I just nip it in the bud early in the game when I see it. That behavior right there was the same young Pharaoh. He did the same thing to us. He attacked us. We just want to stop the youth. Remember he did all that?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And guess what they did?
Go ahead.
Guess what the community did? They praised this man. Now he have Looney Tune crazy because they wouldn't tell him the truth. They wouldn't say, sit down, bro, you just wrong. They wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't do it. They thought he was the savior. And look at him now. Damn man lost his mind. Because y'all didn't sit the young man down and say, look, bro, you just wrong, dog. Take this. Take this correction. Right? You just wrong. But nope. You see where you at now?
And then before we get out of here, I do want to address this comment. A brother in the chat on IG when I was talking about the difference between hard sciences and soft sciences and giving that whole spill. This brother said psychology, sociology, etc. courses do not accompany lab instructions where theorems are validated. He's all over the place, brother Ankh. He's all over the place. They do have theories in psychology. They do have theories in sociology. They do perform what we call qualitative research, where they test these theories out, where they do, case studies and all kinds of stuff. And so again, this is somebody who thinks that in order to be a scientist, you have to have, he's a young Pharaoh, so he thinks a scientist. And I said this when me, you, and Dr. Asar Winkler were on. I said, do y'all really believe that only the only scientists there are the ones who wear white coats? You remember when I said that? I could go find a clip. I said, that's not true. In people's mind, when they think of a scientist, I said, y'all think of, I'm just talking about somebody in the lab with a white coat, or somebody. That's what comes to mind, brother Ankh. You see what I'm saying? You in the lab, you got chemicals or some shit. That's what people honestly think when they think of scientists. You know what I mean? They don't think of people with psychology degrees. They don't think of people with degrees in sociology. They think you actually have to be in a lab, producing something, doing something, and that makes you. No, you have behavioral science. You have the behavioral sciences. That's a science. And I just wanted to say something to this brother. So he's saying that they don't accompany lab instructions. How do you know? How do you know they don't have labs? Do you, sir, have a degree in psychology or sociology? How do you know they don't have labs? Then you're saying where the theorems are validated. Yes, they do. There are theorems that they validate in sociology and psychology. So I think, again, brother Ankh, and I'll say this just to reiterate, and I'll land my plane and give you the last word to close us out. I really think what this boils down to, and I'll say it while the sister's here, there are two major things I think was what was going on and what occurred. I think your idea of a scientist, that level, was not the level she was talking about. I think that's where the disconnect was at the levels. That's what I believe. But I know that you said that you started seeing some pseudoscience that she was, espousing and stuff like that. But I think I think what it boiled down to is that she has her idea of what a scientist is, who a scientist is, and you have your idea. And so you're thinking one way, she's thinking another. I think that was one issue. The second issue, I think, is that you have people who really don't respect the soft sciences. They don't consider that real science. When they think of science, they're thinking of people who are physicists. They're thinking of biologists. They're thinking of chemists. They're thinking of
evolutionary psychologists.
They're not thinking about a psychologist. And I think that's when we're playing this whole game of what's really science and what's not. Oh, I'm in the hard sciences, you in the soft sciences. So my stuff I feel is more rigorous than yours. So therefore I think it's kind of that. That's how I honestly feel. But anyway, you have the last word. You have the last word. You go ahead and close us out.
So I gotta just step to it. At no point was the conversation over soft or hard in that. The sister's just not a scientist. And even brothers and sisters that have master's degrees in psychology. You can go to conferences. I've been around it. You can go to conferences. You can even present. In psychology, but that still wouldn't make you a scientist. And no one actually says it in the field. That's how I knew you was tripping, because I've actually been to the conferences. I've traveled, right? Been there, seen people present. I've been in there. I'm in that types of environments anyway. Okay, I don't hear you running around calling yourself a scientist, doc. And you could definitely fit the bill. You have a doctorate degree. You do research papers. You do you do that. You do that. So I don't hear you saying that. But I'm saying she's a pseudoscientist is what I'm talking about. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm speaking for myself. At no point in that conversation did I think she was a scientist on Sarnetta TV trying to use it against me as sway, as if the level of the conversation she was saying was that much more important because she was a scientist. Nah, bro. I'm saying you was like Ali Muhammad, and like you said, a bachelor's in science does not make you a scientist, and that's what I'm talking about. Appreciate everybody tapped in.
An expert scientist, an expert scientist.
Expert scientist, absolutely.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, an expert scientist.
But she can clear it up. She should just clear it up, though. She say, but she said she was an expert too. I'm an expert. You know that got me.
No, not an expert scientist.
She said she was
an
expert.
BS in psychology. That's not an expert scientist. Not yet. Right. You got to go and get your advanced degree and all that, your master's, your PhD, stuff like that. Okay. So anyway, family, thank you so much for pulling up. Make sure again that you hit the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channels, hit the notification bell so that whenever we go live, you get notified. Also, family, make sure that you share this discussion. We want to each one teach one. The way you do it on these platforms is just by sharing. Right? You just take the link, share it, throw it in your family group chat, your friend group chat, on your social media platforms. But we want to get the word out. I think that today, Brother Ankh, was a good build. And I did pose a question. I did pose a question that says, is the pro-Black online conscious community anti-science and anti-education? I absolutely believe that it is, based on all of this stuff. Is anybody's a doctor, then they don't really value education as the white man's education, the science. So anyway, I think that I'll probably change the title, because I don't think that we really got into the anti-science and anti-education. But nonetheless, I do appreciate everybody pulling up. Peace and Black African excellence.